Okay. The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute as offered by Mr. Goldman of New York.
Without objection, the amendment is considered as read. I reserve a point of order. The gentleman from New York is recognized for 5 minutes to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This amendment would strike all of the resolve clauses and the report, and it would insert language that details all of the extensive efforts to cooperate that Hunter Biden and his attorney have made in response to this committee's requests for testimony and information from him. That began in February when Chairman Comer wrote to request documents and communications related to our investigation of President Biden's involvement in your financial conduct. The following day, his attorney wrote back to Chairman Comer offering to sit down with the staff to discuss the request. Then, 7 months later, Chairman Comer goes on television and said he never got a response back from Hunter Biden, which is flat out false. And that day, Hunter Biden's attorney wrote again to Chairman Comer to say that he did respond, he never heard a response, but that he remains available to have a discussion. So next, without any response from the chairman, you went straight into a subpoena. The subpoena was for testimony, and the witness, Hunter Biden, has put no conditions or limitations on his testimony. There are no limits on the topics. There's no limits on the length of time. He's happy to do it under oath. He has said he would not assert the Fifth Amendment privilege, even though that's available to him. That's in stark contrast to Devon Archer, their star witness, who so narrowly limited the time and scope of his testimony that we could not ask him anything about any of his own criminal conduct. But the only request that Hunter Biden has made is that he wants to give his testimony in public, not behind a closed-door deposition where his transcript wouldn't be released. There's absolutely no certainty or guarantee that there would ever be a public hearing again, and I would bet a lot of money that you will never put him in that witness chair, whether or not he comes in. That's all he wanted, just to speak to the American people. He has not, unlike your dear leader, filed a lawsuit to prevent third parties from turning over financial information. In fact, you've received tens of thousands of bank records. The problem you have is not Hunter Biden's cooperation. It's that all of those bank records, which would show any connection between Hunter Biden and his father, if there were any, has zero money going from Hunter Biden to Joe Biden related to any of his business ventures. So your problem is that the evidence doesn't show what you say it does. It's not that he's not cooperating, so that's why we're here today, so that you can change the topic, can claim that there's some kind of obstruction, and therefore Hunter Biden really did do all of these terrible things, and Hunter Biden should be impeached. Oh, wait, no. It's not Hunter Biden who's being impeached here. Now, this is far worse because the chairman, as we've discussed many times, has multiple times offered Hunter Biden to come testify in public. So if you had wanted a closed-door deposition, I don't understand why you would go on TV, Mr. Chairman, and offer for Hunter Biden to come in and testify publicly, whichever he chooses. So why no public hearing? Why won't you have a public hearing? The only request, this is an incredibly cooperative witness. We've all dealt with many witnesses who put a lot of restrictions on their testimony. There's one request of Hunter Biden, which is to speak directly to the American people, not in a closed door to the Republicans who will control the release, the dissemination, and the misinformation from that testimony. Why not? Okay. Well, one of your own colleagues went on the House floor last fall and said that this impeachment investigation was, quote, failure theater, unquote. A Republican said that. So the theory here must be, let's avoid the theater part of that and just keep the failure behind closed doors. Last month, Hunter Biden showed up to the Capitol on the day that he was subpoenaed, ready to testify in this hearing room. You refused to take his testimony. That very same afternoon, you went on the House floor to vote for an impeachment resolution on the rationale that you needed to pass a resolution to get more evidence. You reject evidence in the morning, and then you cry foul about no evidence in the afternoon. He's ready to testify, and this is a dangerous precedent you're setting if every single line in every single subpoena must be adhered to, or you're going to hold in contempt. I know my colleagues on the other side of the aisle who defied subpoenas outright would be very afraid if that became
time's
the standard
expired.
here. And I yield back.
And I'll recognize myself. I oppose this amendment. This amendment claims that Hunter Biden has cooperated with this committee's investigation. How has he cooperated with the investigation if he has not abided by a congressional subpoena? Abby Lowell has never discussed scope or logic with us, and we have identified at least 2 checks directly to Joe Biden where we traced the money directly through the Biden influence peddling schemes. That is a fact. We have published evidence. This isn't like Adam Schiff and the Steele dossier where you just make stuff up. We have produced bank records, and bank records don't lie. So Mr. Biden mocked our legitimate congressional impeachment inquiry and flew to D.C. to hang out outside of Congress and did not show his face for a deposition. He is not in compliance. He openly defied a congressional subpoena. Do any other members wish to speak on this amendment?
Mr. Chairman.
Chair recognizes Mr. Raskin.
I want to yield back to Mr. Goldman. Before I do, I just want to pose a question to you. When you said that there was documented checks involving the president in an influence scheme, are you referring to the auto loan repayment checks between Joe and Hunter Biden?
You mean the Porsche he got from Uzbekistan? Which auto are you?
I don't know what kind of car, but are those the checks that you're referring to?
The checks we're referring to were a check for $200,000 that came through the influence peddling scheme with AmeriCorps Health, and the $40,000 check that came through the influence peddling scheme with China, where I believe Mr. Bobulinski has stated publicly was a company that Joe Biden was supposed to be 10% owner.
Okay, I'll reclaim my time. I think in both cases, I mean, there were a lot of words there, Mr. Chairman, but I think you're referring to the auto loan repayment with Hunter Biden. You're referring to the James Biden repayment. But if you've got documented receipts of foreign governments giving money directly to President Joe Biden, that's an outrageous violation of the Emoluments Clause, like the $7.8 million that Donald Trump pocketed while he was president, which for some reason you guys don't care about because you think the Constitution only applies to Democrats and not to Donald Trump. Because hey, that's an identifying characteristic of an authoritarian political party. It's got a charismatic leader whose word is considered above the Constitution, above the rule of law. You refuse to accept the results of democratic elections that don't go your way if you're an authoritarian party, and then you refuse to disavow or you embrace political violence as an instrument for obtaining and maintaining political power. So you guys didn't like when President Biden said that your party under Donald Trump has fallen into semi-fascist ways of operation. If the shoe semi-fits, you semi-wear it, okay? Now, I'd like to yield back to Mr. Goldman.
Would the gentleman yield to a question?
Well, yeah, I'll take a quick question.
I just want to clarify. We have a wire that went directly from CEFC, which banks have identified as a state-owned entity from China. That this wire went from CEFC to Hunter Biden, then to Joe Biden for $40,000.
Okay.
Joe Biden has been directly implicated in the family influence peddling scheme at least 3 times.
No, you haven't. You have not. I've not ever seen that.
You have not
Well,
produced
read the bank memo.
You have not produced
The
that.
40,000 is for Jim Biden.
No. The 200,000 is from Jim Biden. The 40,000 is from Hunter Biden.
All right, but please produce the
I look
documentation.
We have it. We have 4 bank memorandums.
Give it to the members of this committee and
4 bank memorandums.
Okay, I'll reclaim my time, Mr.
There
Chair.
has never been a more substantive
I'm saving my time. You go ahead,
investigation
but I'm saving my time.
in the 7 years I've been in Congress.
All right.
love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 You will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack.